Public TV is amazing, and what it has done for our students, what it has done for the elementary kids that I've taught, what it's done for the junior high kids that I've taught has been absolutely incredible, and we cannot let that go. We need these kids to have these opportunities.
Presented by Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium. You're listening to Lights, Camera, Learn. All right, welcome to another episode of Lights, Camera, Learn. I have with me today our guest, Tammy Null. She's a media educator here at Joseph Kerr Middle School. Tammy, welcome.
Thank you.
And we're right here in your brand new classroom, right?
Yes, first day in the classroom today, so
okay.
Very cool.
All right, well, before we talk more about what's going on in the classroom here, let's talk about you. I want to find out, first of all, how did you become an educator? What prompted you to pursue that?
My high school teacher.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Okay.
so Mrs. Chavez kind of took us in like orphans, my husband and I. Neither one of us had ever been to college before, didn't even think that was even ever in my future. One day she asked me to tutor her grandson, and fell in love with teaching him how to read, and then I was tutoring her other grandson, and then she's like, you really should think about being a teacher. And so I changed my major, and she helped me fill out my college applications. Went from thinking about child development to seriously thinking about elementary, and now here I am in middle school.
So what were you going to major in?
I honestly didn't think I was going to go to college. No one in my family had ever done it before. I didn't think that was in my future. I didn't think it was something that I could do. I was never encouraged to. At the time, my stepdad wouldn't even pay for my SATs. Okay. He just didn't, think that it was for me. And thankfully, she believed in me, and she helped me fill out my college application, and just an amazing woman.
That's great.
Yeah.
So where did you end up going to college?
So I started at the JC because I didn't have my SATs in the beginning. So I did 3 semesters at Solano, and then transferred to Sac State, where, interestingly enough, even though he said I couldn't graduate from college, sorry, I just have to boast just a little bit.
Please, go ahead. Sounds like.
So I got my my bachelor's. I am in liberal studies, a minor in child development, and then I got my teaching credential, went back immediately and got my master's. And since then, I've added a English credential, a science credential, a history credential, a computer credential, an administrative credential, and one more that I'm already forgetting. But so 7 credentials, and just I never wanted to stop learning. I love it. So it's been great.
And you must love being a teacher.
I do.
As well.
I can't imagine doing anything else.
So where was the first school you started at?
So I started at Kohler Elementary, and South, I'm trying to think of where it's at. North Highlands, thank you.
Okay.
So Kohler Elementary, North Highlands. At the time it was Rio Linda Unified, and now it's Twin Rivers. Mm-hmm. But I was there for 6 years, and then moved to Elk Grove, and I've been here ever since. So this is my 26th year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 26 years.
So you were in elementary school and then made the switch to middle school, right?
I did. So it's in elementary school. I came to Elk Grove, 6th grade, and I taught for 2 years here, and then I helped write a $3 million grant for science, because a lot of elementary teachers at the time, science was usually kind of put on the back burner because, for many reasons, a lot of teachers they're more comfortable with reading, they're more comfortable with math, and so that usually takes precedence, and a lot of times we noticed that science was being put on the back burner. So we wanted to make science fun and accessible, hands-on for kids. So we wrote a $3 million grant. We did it with 200 teachers. We had the most retention out of all of the grants. We called it ESI. And that was super fun. And then after I left that, because I was coming in so late from Rio Linda, having those 6 years and having to start over, budget cuts. And so I was on the chopping block.
Oh, boy.
And so that's when I looked back at my credential, and I started adding credentials just to prepare, because the middle schools were needing teachers, but elementary, there was just to say an abundance, which now we don't have an abundance of teachers, but
Right.
back then we didn't. And so I got a position at Kerr, which is where I'm at right now. I taught here for 3 years and had my third child. I was doing a lot of administrative things back then, and I just felt like I needed to be with my kids more, 3 kids, and I just needed some time. So I went back to elementary, and 7 years later, I decided to come back to Kerr, and it's been amazing.
So making that switch, was that difficult for you, or what were some of the challenges that you had to address?
No, you know what? It really wasn't, because it was like coming back to my family. I
Sure.
loved elementary, and I was at Markoffer for 7 years, and it was really, really hard to leave that family and the things that I'd built there. But I was ready for a change. I feel like I always want to keep learning. I always want to keep growing. And so when I change a grade level or when I change a school, I feel like it invigorates you and just makes you excited to just to have a new challenge, And I
Sure.
just love that. I love always trying new things. So.
Well, I'm sure that just like with any job, it's easy to get in a rut.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the minute I hate what I'm doing, I've got to retire. So I love and I think changing, like constantly changing and doing different things has really kept that passion alive for me.
Sure. So a couple of years ago, you won our Ellen Hinderstein Teacher of the Year award.
Yes. Oh my
And
gosh. I had no idea.
How did that impact you, and maybe how you taught or how people reacted to that?
I feel like it gave me, I'm kind of a shy person. I know it's funny because I do talk a lot, and everyone thinks of me as this bubbly personality, but I'm kind of an introvert.
Well,
So
you did mention before we started that you did not like to be in front of the camera.
no, that's how I got started. I would just take everybody's pictures, and then I would video, and so I'm just much more comfortable behind the scenes than in front of the scenes. But it just gave me that confidence to know that, hey, they like what I'm doing, and this is really, really cool. And I think for me, seeing my students see me get that award meant more than like anything.
Really?
Because they were just so excited for me. And
Yeah.
it was
So
very
did they come
special.
up and congratulate you?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. They went wild, and it was just amazing.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool.
Well, that's great. Well, one of the things that I know that we talked about before is some of the different topics that you teach, and you have this Future Quest program. Can you describe what that is?
Future Quest is amazing. It's organized chaos and so much fun. I think I had to have the right thing to leave Markoffer, and this was the right thing for me. I get to help. I've always wanted kids to, like my teacher did for me, find their career, find their love, find their passion. And so I've always woven that in no matter what I've taught. And that is all I do. That is literally my job for the day, is to make them find that path. So we have 22 modules. They work
22.
22.
Okay, so you have to be at least knowledgeable enough about each to teach that.
Yes.
Okay.
And they range from engines and power to home maintenance, culinary, dentistry, nursing, child development, just a lot. Robotics, flight and
Okay.
drone. There's something for everyone.
So how many topics are you teaching all at the same time?
So they work in partners.
Okay.
So around 14 to 16 things are going on at the same time. So you might have two
And
kids.
these are middle schoolers.
Middle schoolers, yes. So you might
Okay.
have 2 kids taking apart an engine, while 2 kids are cooking eggs, while 2 kids are taking blood from an arm, while 2 other kids
Not
are
real
making the
blood.
robot.
I just want to make that clear.
Yes. We have like it's actually a phlebotomy arm, and it's
Okay.
what they use in actual nursing school. So that's the other thing, is the stuff that we have that CT has provided us. It is industry standard. I also have videography and podcasting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, which those were easy. Those came natural and
Sure.
easy for me. I think the engine's probably my toughest. My favorite though is criminalistics, because you get to solve crime every day, doing something
interesting.
different, which is super fun.
Yeah.
So it's a wide range. The kids will probably only do 9 to 10 modules throughout the whole year.
Out of the 22.
Out of the
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
I do let them try to pick. I want them to be able to get at least their top 3 before the end of the year.
Sure.
Many of my modules align with our high school, so that they can then find a pathway, and try to make sure that every kid has done something before the end of the year that does align with one of our pathways that they like, so that they can start thinking about high school and what they might
Yeah.
want to do beyond. But it's amazing. I love it. And every day is different. Like I said, organized chaos. You got all these things going on, and the kids just love it. So it's fun
Yeah.
to go and see their excitement every day.
I can imagine. So how, given that many different topics, how do you organize your day?
So it's nice because it's broken into 10 days. Each module is broken into
Okay.
10 days. However, because we are not a block schedule, we're
Yeah.
only 55 minutes, it takes us about 3 weeks to get through a module.
Okay.
Ish, 2.5 weeks. And so they're kind of just following the pattern. You know, day 4 for nursing is always the blood draw. Day 6 for culinary is always cooking eggs. You know, so I know, because I've done them so many times, I know what to expect for each day. And the kids, they have their computer. It has concept pages that they're supposed to
Okay.
be reading. So
Yeah.
they really learn the terms and the vocabulary and the things that they need for their job. And then sometimes there's videos that kind of help them through things. And then there's the hands-on activity. And every day it's something different. So
I just can't imagine the focus that you have to be able to match and watch what's going on with all these different things and different tables
Yeah.
with these kids.
this is where ADHD becomes a superpower.
Okay.
So
in what way?
So because I can multitask, so like hyper focusing on one thing,
Yeah.
very difficult.
Yeah.
But when I've got a lot of stuff going on, that is my wheelhouse.
Okay.
So you know, I'm helping 2 kids with the robot coding that's not quite working.
Yeah.
While I'm grabbing something for criminalistics so that they can analyze their crime scene for the day, and so it's never boring, and it's
Yeah,
super
I can
fun to
imagine.
I'm just go, and that's
Yeah.
kind of my personality, so it fits.
When you're teaching these different topics, do you see kids really start gravitating to one?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have some kids who are like, yeah, I know what I want to be a nurse. Like,
Yeah.
I know it. My mom was a nurse. She told me to do the nursing module. I didn't want anything to do with nursing, but that's what I want. I want to be a nurse. So, and I think because I do have so many credentials, I've always had so many different interests, this class really resonates with me because I just love lots of different things.
Yeah.
And so I think that has also kind of helped. I love coding. I love robotics. I love flight and drone. It's great when they make their rocket out of paper, mind you.
Yeah.
And it flies and goes, at least halfway through the field, field out there, and they get all excited and they measure, and oh my gosh, it's 249 yards or whatever, and so it's fun and
Yeah.
very, very rewarding.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So you also run the media education. So how does that fit in, and what's the role that you play?
So my lunch.
Okay.
So right now, I partner with leadership. She Miss Link is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I went to her. So I started here last year, and I really focused on leadership. I focused on Future Quest, and I really wanted to bring a news program here, and I have wanted to bring a news program here. When I taught here before, we had gotten the start of it, and no one ever really picked it up too much after me. I got it going at Markhofer, I got it going at McKee, I got it going at all our Fikert, at all our
Yeah.
feeder schools coming in, and as well as, oh gosh, how many schools? I think I've helped 10.
Really?
At
Okay.
least 10 schools in Elk Grove get their news program going.
These were all middle schools, or
Those were elementary.
Elementary. Okay.
And so having that, and then they're so excited, and they come to middle school, and it's like nothing. So I really, really wanted it. So that was another plus for me coming here, is to get this program up and running and going again. And so in November, because my admin was like, we can't really add anything like that just yet.
Yeah.
I really want you to focus on Future Quest and make it amazing. So I came to him in November and I said, is it amazing yet? Like, do you like what I'm doing? He's like, yeah, it's great. The kids love it. I go, can I start adding news now? And I said, and here's my getaway. I would like to do it with advocacy. Once a week we meet in advocacy with our advocacy teachers. We have slides with lessons, which are amazing. Miss Shivo, she does a great job creating those powerful lessons for us. And then we had our leadership kids would make a slide deck that they would do a voiceover.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So, but the kids would never listen to it. Oh, but they would.
Sure.
But not like you would a news program, And I said, can I start there, And it's something that Miss Link had always wanted to do, like to take it further than what it was. But she's just one person and couldn't do all of that.
Right.
Our rooms happen to be right next to each other, so it made the partnership lovely. Her tech crew at the time was on a downswing. They didn't have a whole lot going on at that time. So she's like, why don't you take my 6 kids and let's just do it. So we started very small. We did that first Wednesday, and my principal was like, all right, you've got this. Let's do it. And so we have not missed a Wednesday since, except the 1 week that we were interviewing the incoming.
Okay.
And so she kind of changed the way that she does leadership this year, knowing that this was going to be a component of it. So they had their interview process, they had their application, but I had a teleprompter, and I had them reading from it. So my little 6 crew, they took that in the hallway while I was teaching, because I still teach during this class. And they had the kids do a teleprompter and kind of gave us an idea of who might be interested in it, and kind of grew from there. So
how many kids are involved in this now?
So I have, her entire class will make segments when they have downtime. Like, for example, November, December, there's not as much going on as there is like at the beginning of the year or right now. Like right now it's crazy. They're trying to do rallies and all that kind of stuff. So they all made a mystery night for us. So they all worked in groups and they made a mystery night, and we have enough mystery nights to last to the end of the year.
What's a mystery night?
So a mystery night is a staff member.
Okay.
You don't know who they are.
Uh-huh.
You have to guess, and the first 10 people to guess on a Google form gets a prize from me. And you get, 4 or 5 clues to figure out who they are. And it's just a way to highlight our staff,
Okay.
whether it be our campus supervisor, our secretary in the office, or a teacher. It's just a nice way to get to know your staff members in a different way. So we have enough of those stockpiled.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they got busy again with their leadership things, and then they had a little bit more downtime. So they have now made, I don't even know how many segments, probably 15 segments to get us through the rest of the year. So now my 6 main students, they've changed. So halfway through the year, I got another group. I kept 1 of the 6,
Okay.
and then 5 new. That way they could kind of get an experience. She has, the way she runs her leadership classes, she does 5 different committees of 6. 6 different committees of 6, and she likes them to be more well-rounded. So halfway through the year, they swap roles so they can learn something else.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so she's like at the poster committee. She's got digital media, or a digital committee, PBIS. So just different, they have different goals in mind that they work, and then they do other things for the school. But the tech crew is mine, and they've been wonderful. So and they're super excited about this.
Oh, I bet they are. So what are some of the roles then the kids that are on the tech crew get to fulfill?
So they edit, they write the scripts, they pull from in the beginning of the year, they were also having to create all the segments, and now it's nice because they're only having to create maybe 1 segment, and then they can pull from an already done segment that their friends had made.
Okay.
And kind of put it together however they want, but they have to make sure that they're checking we don't have one centralized location for all of our activities. So they've got to check the sports activity. They've got to check, they've got to check all these different calendars to make sure that we're getting all the announcements in there correctly. And they're working on trying to make the news more personality, not so.
Yeah.
This is the news,
right?
Just adding some jokes in there.
That's the way they assume it is, because if they're watching it at all,
yes.
that's the way it looks to them.
So we were working really hard. I feel like our script this last time was probably one of their better scripts, because they put a few jokes in there. And I'm like, think of what your dad would say. Do some dad jokes. Just make it fun, And so they're really doing they do everything. They run all the stuff, the lighting, everything. It's them. I'm just there. I do look over things. We did have. We had an interview. We have hallway headlines. That's the new name for it. They've changed it so many times, where they go on interview students. And there was this group of students, and I wasn't sure what they were saying exactly. They were using I thought it was just usernames or something, but I think it might have been some inappropriate name. So, but we learned from that. We're no, we want names only, and actually we're just going to use the names in the bottom now from, so they learn and they critique each other and they go back and they review, and I love that, because they get better and better. If you look at the first episode to where they are now,
I can imagine there's a level of improvement for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
And they were able to go back in YouTube, and they just decided to cut those entire people.
Really?
They went in and they said, we don't know what is, good or what is not. And so it had already been posted, and instead of re-uploading it, they chose to go in and just delete. And I was like, great decision. I like that. That's a good decision.
So the newscast that the school does, that's a once a week, correct?
Yes.
That's what you mentioned.
Currently,
right.
until I get my new class.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we might do the dailies.
How long is the finished piece typically?
Anywhere from, we try not to make it too long, because we only have 20 minutes of advocacy. So we try to do between 5 and I think our longest episode was 9 minutes.
Okay.
But that was like our first episode, and it had a lot of like introducing new staff, and kind of our principal did this really cute. Our new teachers, he did it like a sports theme where, you know, he wanted
that's fun.
Yeah, so he wanted to be like at a podium and being like, and my draft pick for this year for English was, and so that was super fun. So like it was a little bit longer, and I think all the teachers by department introduced themselves and had like a little funny saying about what they do, so that the incoming 7th graders, we didn't have Jumpstart. And so usually we have 3 days where the 7th graders can come and meet staff and have fun and games and just do things and just feel more comfortable about coming to junior high. And since the budget kind of cut that, we decided that this would be a great way to meet the staff.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you did this similar to kind of, at least the media education in elementary school where you were
Yes.
at before. How do you find it being different with the older age group?
So in elementary school, I had, by the time I left there, I probably had 85 to 90 kids.
At one time, or
Yes.
multiple periods?
Again, I have ADHD.
Yeah, okay.
And it is a superpower for things like this. So what I would do is we would do rotations. So I would have about 20-ish kids, and I had, mind you, it's kindergarten through 6th grade.
Yeah.
So we would have at least 2 6th grades on each team. So we'd do 20, 20, 20, 20. And the 2 lead 6th grade kids would pick a couple 5th grades, and then they would pick a couple 4th, a couple 3rd, a couple 2nd, a couple 1st, and the older kids would train the younger kids. They would rotate through. So one week would be Team A, next week would be Team B, next week would be Team C, Team D. We would all be together in the same room. My room was giant.
It had to be.
It was pretty
imagine,
big.
right.
But they made use of the outside. It was after school. We would do it like 1 to 2 days a week, depending on how things went. And they would write the scripts. They would do all the things for their episode. Once they got going and they'd been through a few times, we would then take the youngers, the 3rd through kinders, and the 3rd graders would then take the lead of their little guys, and then they would make their mini Mustang news.
Yeah.
And so it worked out really well. And then we would focus on PSAs are the easiest thing to start with. 30 seconds, super simple. And then we'd work on instructional, probably the next easiest thing to teach, and kind of work our way up. Documentaries I saved toward the ends. They're just really hard to teach, really, really hard to teach.
Well, especially for that age group,
Yes. Now, I taught computers the last 2 years. So that was really easy for me because I would do media as part of my computer lab. So I had cameras from the SIVAs. Thank you, SIVAs.
And you want to talk a little bit about what the SIVAs are? Because you've entered a few and won some.
I have. I've entered probably 10 years in the SIVAs. And yeah, at Markhofer, we probably won, not every year, we won several.
Yeah.
That was very rewarding just to have that. And actually we made plaques in the computer lab. And so every winner who's ever won any kind of SIVA has a plaque, and so their name's always added year after year. So it's kind of something that I started, and they're continuing on with Miss Hoxton and still doing that, so it's wonderful. But yeah, it's super fun. It is kind of crazy in the beginning, but having that computer time, those last 2 years were probably my easiest, probably why I had even more kids growing, because I had them once a week in the computer lab. And so I could do a month-long PSA with my 3rd graders.
Yeah.
And they could take and go around campus and create their little PSAs and edit and come back, and then we could look at them and see what we could do better, what they did great, and build from there. And so that really built a great group of kids to choose from.
So are there any projects, either elementary or middle school, that stand out for you? And what would be the reason they stood out?
I have a lot of kids and a lot of amazing ones. But I think the one that stands out the most is probably Allie. She was our very first SIVA winner. She was a 6th grade student in my class. She had autism.
Really?
Very high social anxiety. And until I had her, she spent every lunch in the office.
Really?
Never ate with anyone. I had several other kiddos who I just opened my room. So she'd start bringing her lunch in my room. And then she started drawing on my iPad because she was an amazing artist. And another friend started drawing, and she had friends for the first time. And matter of fact, one of those girls, Nadia, she sent me a letter about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. She's going to school to be a teacher.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So,
yeah.
but her PSA was on, oh gosh, it's not anxiety, but kind of like anxiety and depression and like just kind of how to, and she drew it and she animated it. And the music, when it was really sad, it went down and then it quieted and it just had this most amazing, and then it picked up. And it was incredible. Like I'd never seen it. It was so amazing. And
I'm gonna have to look for it now. I'm gonna go back and see what that was.
to know that this girl who never talked to anyone just blossomed that year, and media was video production, and everyone would go to her. How do I edit? How do I do this in my class? And that was when that was my very first year of doing it at Markhofer.
Yeah.
So we started with a green sheet on the wall that I ordered from Amazon, and we asked who has the highest megapixels on their camera or on their phone. And that's how we shot everything. And then we kind of grew from there. I connected back up again with Doug. And
that was Doug at SECC, who was there for several years. Yeah.
And so we took the corner of my classroom and added some lights and made it into this really great studio. And then later we were able to, during construction, to be able to take the computer lab and make it a half studio, half computer lab. But it started, and that was my very first class that I had. And they remember looking up the green and going, oh, I know why we have shadows. It's because we need to light the background. Look, we watched this YouTube video. And then from there, they're like, oh, our sound's not very good. We should get a better mic. So then we got a mic with a stick. So we'd have one kid literally under the table holding the mic like this in between the two people. And then we got a little thing, so then they had that. And so we just kept adding slowly, and it was because of what they were researching. And then they said, we need to make our mics be nicer. Do you think we could do a like a square and like put News on it somehow? And I'm, well, sure.
So they were already thinking about mic flags.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and then they're
branding.
like, well, how big they should be? And I go, I don't know. Let's measure the diameter. And so then they measure the diameter. So they're doing math. They're doing all these things. And it's interesting because someone said, what do you do in Miss Null's class? And they're like, oh, we just have fun. And they're like, well, what are you doing right now? They're like, oh, I'm trying to find out the diameter because I need to order the mic, but I've got to figure out how big the mic is so I can get the flag, the whatever. And like, oh, but you're not doing anything. You're just fun. But it was math. It was like just secret, just hidden in fun things. And it wasn't like we did video all day long, but they would come in on lunch and do it all the that's what they wanted to do. Instead of, they'd been on that yard for 5 years. They were over it. So they wanted something different. And so it was just great.
What are the skills you think kids learn when they learn how to use media and produce it that carry them on into others, either skill sets or into life in general?
I think confidence is huge.
Yeah.
Decision making, working together. If you're working, and so I always did my groups in groups of 4, especially when I was in the computer lab. Everyone's got different personalities, and when you grow up and you get a job, your personality might be very different than your partner's. And so figuring out how to work with your coworkers, it's a huge skill that you can teach students. And I feel like that is big. I mean, besides the editing and that stuff is fun, I have had kids, I have a few students who are like, thank you, Miss Null. I actually film weddings on the weekend. I make money at high school. So they're actually getting jobs on their own using their skills. I have one kid who's, oh my gosh, he's got like, I can't even remember how many YouTube followers he has now, and he, all the editing skills that he did in our classroom. So I feel like there is the media skills that you get, but I also think that there's some lifelong lessons that you can get that are maybe more important and more valuable.
I think that's true. I mean, in the time that I've been head of SECC and I've seen the types of projects kids do, like you said, there's a confidence level that you can see that comes from it, but also an opportunity to express themselves. I mean, like, not everybody can draw. That's probably a good thing.
Yes, yes.
And not everybody can sculpt or paint or anything, but it's not that creating media is easy, but it's easier to do that, I think, than try to think, how am I going to draw that when I don't even know how?
Yes. And it does. It gives you and the audience, I feel like it makes a difference too. Like, so we started doing podcasting at Markhofer, and I actually made us legit. I made a real podcasting. We used Audibles, I think, at the time, and you could actually get on if you did it right, you could get on iTunes and all that. So we did all
Yeah.
of that, and it was great. And the kids would monitor. They would look. It was funny. We made 20 cents. We almost had enough for an ice cream, by the end of the year or whatever.
Right.
But they were looking at that kind of stuff, and they were like doing the math, and they were looking at like, well, how do you attract more views? What So, and a lot of those skills are great too, because when you get to companies, a lot of people are, social media is a huge thing. That's a lot of companies are looking for people who know how to do that and how to look at the analytics on those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are you incorporating AI or teaching it at all? Or?
I'm teaching it for the good.
Yeah.
So I would say.
What does that mean?
So, for example, let's put our script in and see if we have any editing errors. Let's
Good
ask
idea.
ChatGPT, hey, do you see any editing errors in here?
As opposed to having ChatGPT create the script,
right,
and then go back and use it. Yeah.
Or I want to do naming things. That's been really great too. So like the hallway headlines, that came from ChatGPT, because they're like, we need a name for our thing, and then it gave them a bunch of names. Like, no, and then they would ask, and so being able to fine tune and really get down what you want from it, I think is a life skill that they're going to need, to really get it what you want it to say. We were looking at trying to do a logo, and so we were saying, we want like a background that will do this and this and this, and they're like, no, the knight looks too mean. Can you make the knight do this? Or even like the one lesson that I'm going to be doing with my Future Quest class that I haven't done yet is I'm going to have a picture, and I want them to use it to recreate my picture exactly.
That's great.
Because then you really have to be. Oh, no, it wasn't a black background. It was a white background. And so they really have to get creative with the choice of words and really learn, that's adjectives. I mean, you're teaching nouns and verbs and
teaching clear communication, because any of these AI tools, the generative especially, are only as good as the prompts that you give it.
Yes.
And there was one teacher I was talking with, and he gave an example of, okay, I'm going to have you create this character, and I want to see what you come up with. And it was like, let's say cowboy, right? So if somebody put, okay, create a cowboy. Well, it's just this nondescript generic cowboy. You said, well, that's what you got, is you got just generic cowboy.
Yep.
But then he showed what somebody else created, and it said, I want a hat that looks like this. I want him to look like he hasn't shaved. I want him to look like he hasn't bathed. I want this kind of shirt. I want this kind of thing.
Right.
Now he's got a real-looking cowboy. But
and now he's got personality.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I'm trying to teach the kids, is you can't just, because a lot of you can tell like when a kid has used ChatGPT on a homework, because half the times it just sounds like a boring, dry robot, and it doesn't have any personality or things like that. And so, I feel like using it to help you get better is a great use of AI.
Yep, I agree. So let's talk a little bit about your classroom here. So you just moved in here
today,
right? So what are you going to be teaching in here?
So currently I teach English in the morning, which that's just my second, it's another thing that I do. I love teaching my English class, but I will also be teaching a media class next year. We are looking at 8th grade currently, because we don't have as many 8th grade electives. And so we're thinking we're going to focus on 8th grade this year, and then maybe next year we'll do a 7th grade version and an 8th grade version.
Okay.
I get to write it. We picked, in our course catalog, we do have a couple of different descriptions of things that we can choose from. But ideally, I want to take it and teach it from the basics like I used to do, like what is a tight shot, wide shot, medium shot, like how to really get there, focus on PSAs, focus on instructional videos, focus on documentaries, and kind of take take them to the next level. They all know how to use CapCut, and things like that. Well, that's great, but like how do we actually make our own things?
Yeah.
And make them really special and make them amazing, and have meaning and have voice and have things tie and really, really express yourself. And so ideally that's what I would like to do. And my thought is that it would be a partnership still with leadership. So leadership would still be the face of our news, but my class would be the segments and kind of the behind the scene, of that, and we would work in tandem with leadership still. So I like the idea of leadership being the face of our news.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So are you teaching the kids how to do some of this on their phone? Because that's obviously how many people are, including that age group, are consuming.
Yes.
content.
So I do have some iPads that I've purchased over the years. They're probably starting to get a little outdated.
Yeah.
But so we do use iPads, and then we use cameras. I have a few cameras that I've gotten from secctv. over the years that I just have with me, and so we'll use that. I have them start with a tie-wide medium shot using the iPad. We'll do like iMovie, that kind of a thing, and then we'll switch to the cameras, and then we really look at panning and, tilt shots and just really getting more detailed.
Yeah.
And the kids love it because video production is one of my modules, and so we always show the movie at the end. With the movies, I don't know if you've met middle schoolers, but they're hilarious.
I bet they are. I've seen some of the
hilarious.
things that have been submitted for SEVA's this last year, so our award competition. Yeah,
Yeah,
Some are
they
pretty
have.
funny.
Yeah, they have some interesting ideas of things. My third period last quarter or whatever, they were great with. They had this whole secret spy thing going on, and an arrest thing or whatever. But it was great because they used sound effects with like a siren coming, and they don't have any
that's great.
costumes. Or some of them are making props, like they're like using the art and they're making props and doing things or whatever. But it's super fun.
Yeah,
It's
that's great.
Yeah, and then they try to engage the kids, and actually that's the great motivator. Someone can't be in your movie if they're not done with their day's work. So they're like, I want to be in the movie, and so then they try to get it done so they can go help the video production
Right.
people. Yeah.
So, what would be your wish list for equipment?
My wish list for equipment. Lighting right now is not so good in my room. It's very small room, and
Yeah, the folks listening and watching this can't see this, but it's about maybe a 8x8 at best.
I think it's supposed to be like 12 by
Okay, maybe
12 by 14-ish.
Okay.
But once you get the desk in there and you get
maybe
the
it
humans,
looks like it's 8x.
it looks like 4 by 4.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, no, so lighting for sure. I would like to have more than one camera view. I think that we need to start growing. The kids have just been doing the straight on shot. I want them to start doing one anchor and looking at the other anchor and just kind of really playing with that so that it's not just one steady shot throughout the entire anchors. So some sort of TriCaster or a board that right now we can't currently monitor sound, so we're just lucky if our sound works.
Boy, that's tough.
We try to fix it in post if we can. We're lucky now because where we're shooting, it's supposed to be soundproof, although I did notice there is still an air conditioning unit in there.
Okay.
Which that was our battle. We had to, like in Final Cut Pro, the kids had to take out noise reduction because it never failed. The second they hit lights, camera, action, that AC would kick on and make a humming noise in the background.
I know there's an AI tool that will help with that too, but I can't remember what it's called.
That's good to know.
We'll have to get that information
Yeah,
to you.
in Final Cut Pro, they have a noise reduction, so they were kind of using that, and it sort of would take it out a little bit. And they would kind of split the anchors and try to make one a little higher and lower. So all our sound has had to be edited in post, which has been very, very, very challenging.
I bet it.
So that would be a dream of mine, to get something that we can actually monitor sound. To get a couple, like at least another camera to have another view. Would love to have some field kits where kids can go out on campus and shoot, record to their heart's content, come back and edit. I have no computers in this room yet.
Not yet, but
so
there's plenty of room, that's for sure.
Plenty of room, no Ethernet ports.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah.
But yeah, I do want to try and get maybe a cart for laptops, because I want to, WeVideo is great. It is a wonderful starter. It is wonderful for elementary school, but I feel like by the time you get to junior high, you really need to start using Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro. We've been using, and that's the other thing. I don't have a computer to run. I use my personal iPad or my personal MacBook to run our studio right now. We don't have an actual computer to run the studio. So that would be another thing. But if we can't do Macs, which I don't think our district will do, Adobe Premiere is something that I want them to be able to learn, so we need some site licenses for that. But I mean, it's not huge, just those little things, you know. Sound's important, light's important.
So yes, they are. So if you were going to talk to another teacher who's either thinking about being a media educator or already is, but is still not quite certain how to be better at it, what kind of advice would you give them?
Start small.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes. Let the kids help you.
Okay.
You don't have to know it all. And honestly, it's better. My first year was probably my first year at Markhoff was probably my most favorite year, because they were actively seeking the answers. They were searching YouTube. They were going and they were getting out the things and figuring out what we still needed and why things weren't, why we had a green halo around and why we couldn't do certain things. And so I say, be a facilitator.
Yeah.
Let the kids take charge. you'll be surprised. They'll come up with some amazing things that you never even thought of.
Yeah. I could see that. So given your experience in high school, not knowing what you wanted to do, and then being where you're at now, what would you go back and tell your high school self?
You are smart, and
There you
you
go.
are worthy,
Yeah.
and you are on the right path.
Yeah.
And just keep doing what you're doing. Keep making those connections. Keep helping others. Keep positive.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone get you down. Stay positive. And the world's going to get better and better.
That's all great advice, Tammy. Is there any last thing that you'd like to tell folks here?
Just watch your local cable channel.
Okay.
I know everybody wants to cut ties.
Yeah.
But honestly, public TV is amazing. And what it has done for our students, what it has done for the elementary kids that I've taught, what it's done for the junior high kids that I've taught has been absolutely incredible. And we cannot let that go. We need these kids to have these opportunities so that they have an option out there. And maybe they're not going to be newscast people,
Right.
but maybe they're going to get hired at their local business, and that business is going to want to advertise. Well, guess what? They can make the commercial for them. They know how to do the things. They're not afraid to touch the technology because they've never had experience with it.
Right.
And I think it's so valuable in so many ways that please support your public education.
Thank you. Well, Tammy, thank you so much for this. This was a great conversation. Appreciate it. So that's it for this episode of Lights, Camera, Learn. You can catch us on Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, and also on our website, secctv.org. You can also support us on Patreon by clicking on Lights, Camera, Learn. Until the next episode, make it a great day. Thank you.